Welcome to Sergeant Major Storytime. I'm your host, Command Sergeant Major Retired Panama Petrovich. Today we're going to go on a trip to Poland and get a better understanding of the culture and some of the historic features and locations and cities, and maybe even get a good bite to eat and link up with some of the locals and get a better understanding of the culture and see how things exactly work there. So we had a decent flight. Lucky for us, it was only an hour and a half. So we were able to get there and get out in a rather decent amount of time, even though the layover was about an hour in comparison to where we were supposed to actually leave the airport from Frankfurt. But that was nothing out of the ordinary or unusual. Lucky for us, we finally got off the plane and anxious, ready to get after it. So we got to the tarmac and made our way to the actual Poland airport, which is rather small, which means it's going to take you a while to get your bag. So that's something you might keep in mind when you get there, and if you have someone who's going to be coming to pick you up. But it can go to the left or right. It just depends. It's just something to think about, a minor nuance you might want to take into consideration. And once we got off the plane, we headed straight downtown to see some of the statues, and one in particular is the 1956 monument of the massacre that happened there between the factory workers and some of the Polish soldiers who were not from that location, actually. Right next to it is a history museum, and you'll see the large doors, some of the fixtures, the vases, and the throne that's sitting there, which I actually got a chance to sit in. Something that I noticed and I liked was, besides certain artifacts, you actually saw a diorama and an explanation of where the item came from and what time frame. This was very interesting to me. I got a chance to look over some things and I learned a lot, so it was rather enjoyable for me. Next location you'll see is the actual video room where they tell you about Poznan, the city itself, and some of the historical artifacts and things that happened there. As usual, you know we have to get to work eventually, so here we are checking the vehicle out before we go ahead and get on the road. For the most part, Poland is very dismal and dreary, and you see the buildings, you can tell that there hasn't been any restoration done to it so far, or in a long period of time. The economy is still on the way up, trying to get back where it should be after the war. As you can see, it's snowing. And it's snowing yet again. This is after a 4-hour drive back to our location. One thing to keep in mind is that even though it's Poland, you might want to think it's Poznan because of all the, should I say, Bydgoszcz, because of all the signs. No matter what direction you go to, it's always a sign that said Bydgoszcz, so it makes you wonder. Here we are looking at another museum that we're probably going to check out tomorrow once we get up and get everything done as far as some work-wise. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. See you next time. At ease.